It's time for the first album spotlight, and it couldn't have been with a better album to begin with. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is an album that's near and dear to my heart. Why, you may ask? Well, it's the first record that I listened to the whole way through. My parents had a record collection, and I remember being fascinated with the Beatles. This particular album stood out, with all kinds of famous people in the distance, mostly dead, and some still alive, like a picture of the early Beatles in their suits are there in the background. In the center, we have the Beatles dressed in these weird costumes of looking like they're in some sort of marching band or something. When you look at this, your mind runs rampant with questions, but no answers. Imagine my confusion when the record starts off with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The track feels live. We hear the band warming up. I look at the back and the front of the album, and there's nothing that proclaims this is a live album. The next track continues, even with applause. The song With a Little Help from My Friends comes on. I'm thinking, okay, this must be a live album. There's no possible way that this is done in the studio. But that's when the track Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds kicks in, where you have the left speaker playing a trippy organ and the right speaker playing sparse bass lines. It clearly sounds like it's in the studio, and not only that, but there's an incredible amount of production that's happening on this record. It's meant to catch your attention, to pull you in, and listen with each speaker or ear doing different things. They create a soundscape that beckons you inward. Each track asks us different aspects about life, from getting better's abusive relationship issues hidden among toxic optimism. She's leaving home, teenage angst that drives a woman out of her parents' house to blaze her own path. Fixing a hole about fixing a house. But is it really about fixing yourself? Windows 64, a song about what it's like to get old. Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, a song about psychedelia itself. The beauty of waking up in the morning on Good Morning. And even a song about Eastern philosophy, Within You, Without You. Then we're onslaught by a reprise of the Sgt. Pepper song in about a minute and a half, bringing this idea of a live concert to a close. But then, they've saved the best for last. There's an encore, and that encore itself is probably one of the greatest songs that the Beatles have ever done. It's called A Day in the Life. And what we have here is truly special. We start by John describing a horrible accident, but instead of it being in horror, he laughs. He's desensitized by the violence. He mentions how he wants to turn us on. And then we hear increasingly dissonant noise that morphs into a completely different pop song by Paul. It's so disorienting. It feels so unexpected, but somehow it feels natural. And you question, how could it even be possible? And then, what is this? Paul's talking about his day? Like, were we just talking about heavy concepts about death? Is this a commentary on how we see life every day, but then we forget about it? We're so caught up in our routines? But then, just when we're thinking about that, and just when we have the time to place it, we're brought back to transition to John's part without even noticing. It's too late. We're brought back to the first part of the song. But now he's talking about holes and counting them, and we're wondering, what is he talking about? He's almost like he's describing bureaucracy. Is this a description about how our jobs are not our lives and are just meaningless when it comes down to it? Is John giving us advice on how we should be living? John concludes, trying to turn us on again, he says. Is he trying to wake us up from our humdrum lives? We then have this increasingly dissonant noise that gets louder and louder and louder and swells until it resolves beautifully into a conclusion. And we hear, right after that silence for a while, this strange laugh and this repeated, never could be any other way. You finish listening to something like this, and you can't help but think. My first question is, how did something like this get created? And I know you're like drugs or whatever, but no, like, this is an intricate album. Songs flow in and out of each other. There's clear thought behind what songs are going on this album, and they follow a common theme. And the theme is life itself. And that's end capped by that last track. So is a good album one that has an underlying concept? No, because I wouldn't even say that this is a concept album. Or if it is, it's just as loose as Zappa and the Mothers of Invention's Freak Out. So what makes a good album? Is it cohesiveness? Well, I could argue that Sgt. Pepper isn't cohesive. It spans several different genres. It starts with a live emulation of a concert and ends with it, but the middle is clearly in the studio. There's no way that they try to even trick you into that. But then again, the songs lead into each other very clearly. There's a pleasing sense with how the music travels from song to song. I'm asking a lot of questions, but I'm not answering any. And that's the point. When you listen to an album like this, like Sgt. Pepper, you're questioning music. You question life. You question what the point is to anything. These tracks are pretty vague, and each one, every person can find their own meaning. The beautiful part about this album is when you listen to it, you can take it any way you please. When I was a kid, I just liked jamming to certain tracks. Meaning didn't matter. When I was older and in college listening to this, I questioned my life, how I lived, and I thought deeper behind my existence. Now I'm listening and I'm trying to figure out what makes an album great. This is the point. The Beatles on this album make something truly special. An album you can take however you wish. And that leaves the question to you, dear listener. How do you engage with Sgt. Pepper? What are you taking away from this album after you listen to it in full? Tell me in the comments below. Let's talk music. Or maybe you've never sat down to listen to this whole album. If that's the case, why not? What's stopping you? Maybe it's time for you to listen, as the Beatles intended. I guarantee you'll take something away from this album. I hope that helps. And I hope you liked me talking about this beautiful album with you. It's one of my absolute favorites. I absolutely adore it. I talk about it as a landmark since 1967. That's for a good reason. Love you all. Thanks for watching.